We got to talk about Tropical Storm Erin. This is something that's actually developed here in the last couple of days. This tropical storm now becoming one recently. It's expected to now be our first major hurricane at some point. So I guess my question is like, what's the track on this? Like, are we going to see impacts of it at all? I mean, the United States, probably not up here in Michigan, but you know, United States, any impacts that you're foreseeing so far?
Likely not here in Michigan. We could end up seeing some pretty heavy rain along the East Coast, but for the most part, and of course high waves too is something that we usually see when we have these hurricanes. But a lot of that, it looks like it's going to be staying just far off of the East Coast, so all of those impacts would not necessarily be so direct. A lot of those models starting to look like they're actually called spaghetti models, but different lines. They are looking to kind of have a westward trajectory, curve up to the north. So we start to see that making its way around high pressure that's situated over the Atlantic right now. So it's really just going to help to kind of miss us for the most part, which is some good news. Yeah, that is some good news, especially as we are now getting more and more into hurricane season for us. And again, this is our first major named storm that we are going to see, or it could become that. But we were just talking in the break that we're already at Erin. We've already had a slew of other names already this year so far. Yeah, we've had a couple. This is the fifth one of the season, the fifth named storm. This does feel like a pretty quiet start to the season, but that's always, I always hesitate to say that because once we say that, that's when it feels like a lot of the time hurricane season really picks up. We've already had four tropical storms at least before this, but none of them have reached hurricane status. Erin looks to be the first one to do it. So here's where Erin is right now, way off in the Atlantic Ocean. It's not doing anything quite yet, just spinning around, not close to any land. Tropical storm Erin also showing winds that are around 50 miles an hour, gusting up to about 65 miles an hour. So still only tropical storm strength. However, it does look like it's going to be reaching hurricane strength not too long from now. Likely tomorrow afternoon is when it will start to do that. So here's what we're expecting over the next couple of days, anticipating it to get to that major hurricane status, likely as we're getting into Saturday night. That's when it looks like it could be reaching that level 3. It approaches the area of Haiti, the Dominican Republic. We'll continue to see a lot of that, though, turning further off to the north, so more of a northwestward trajectory towards the U.S. as we're heading throughout this weekend and into next week. But we will be able to see more of that northward trajectory once again as it's curving around that high pressure system, so likely not to impact the U.S. directly. Here's the thing, too, though, is that we're not even at the peak of the season quite yet. So typically when we see the peak of the season, that would be September 10th. We're not there quite yet. We're still going to be on the upward really ramp of the season. We'll be able to see things ramping up likely not too long from now, but it's not unheard of to be this quiet up to this point in the season. It's just that we can't really let our guard down and think, oh, well, it's been quiet so far, so it's going to stay quiet. That's not necessarily the case. Yeah, I do remember in some of those fall months is when we really start to see this type of thing pick up. And the graphic before that you were showing, that was what you were calling the spaghetti plot. So that was just to give people an idea, and that kind of gives you an idea of like what all the models are kind of saying, right? Yeah, we'll go back to that here too. It's so interesting to see. Yeah, we've got a couple of different models. So each of those different lines, each of those different really spaghetti noodles, I guess you could call them, because of this being a spaghetti plot, those are all different models really depicting where this thing would go. So at this point, a lot of them are in good agreement. I was going to say, it seems like they're all pretty consistent. Yeah, they're all pretty consistent with each other. They're all really agreeing that it's going to be curving around this strong high pressure system over the Atlantic, that high pressure system being east of where all of these models are currently, east of the Bermuda. So as we head into next week, that's when we're going to be watching some of those impacts that are more indirect towards the east coast of the U.S., but it looks like a lot of that is going to be staying offshore. So that's some good news for the area.